Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Sean. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. So nice of you for joining us today. And Sean, can you please let us know where you live and what you do?
So I live in Bend, Oregon. It's in Central Oregon, high desert, beautiful place. And I own and operate DFS Analytics. So we essentially help small to medium-sized CPG brands consolidate, harmonize all of their data into one easy dashboard.
That's awesome. All right. So, Sean, as a founder, I believe you may have multiple hats. You may be wearing multiple hats because usually founders do wear a lot of hats. So, what are your core responsibilities in your company right now?
So I actually wear all the hats, one of a kind at the company. And so it's been built and scaled into a way where, I don't need a ton of employees. It's kind of like a hybrid model between tech and consulting. And so there's a very personal experience with me and the clients that we have.
That's awesome. So because you are wearing a lot of hats, all the hats, so obviously you're aware of all the processes, like from where the things start and where they end. And so can you let us know a little bit about the marketing side? Because marketing is one of the important part and is directly associated with the sales as well. So how you're doing your marketing? You are doing online marketing, offline marketing, mix and match, or something else?
Yeah, I've been in the industry, in the consumer packaged goods industry for about 13 years. And so with that, I had a lot of relationships. I used to be on the sales side of things. And so I was able to tap into that a little bit. And then a lot of my business has grown through referrals, actually. I don't do a ton of marketing. I do have a website. I do some light Google ads just to have somewhat of a presence. But yeah, for the most part, it's honestly been a lot of referral based growth and just natural growth.
Makes sense. So obviously the referrals are one of the best thing, but how a company can reach at the extent where they can get enough referrals that they require to keep going on?
Yeah, well, our business model is built so that it's kind of like a subscription based. So we retain a lot of our clients, and I have clients that have stuck around for 3 years, and then I have some clients that are fairly new, but I don't see a lot of our clients drop off for any reason specifically. It's usually an internal brand reasoning, like a rebrand or something of that nature. So our retention is really high. And yeah, so, typically they stay with us for an extended period of time.
Makes sense. So obviously retention is a pretty difficult thing, and you are pretty good on it. And well said. Like when you have a retention, obviously you will get a lot of referrals. Like you will be a word of mouth, and people are going to do more trust on you. So in this case, client retention demands a lot of things. One of them is your time. So I'm not sure, like again, because you're wearing all the hats. So how do you manage the time? Because this can be a big problem in work-life balance.
Yeah, totally. And I'll kind of go back a little bit. I had a very influential boss for a number of years in my first career within consumer packaged goods. And he led several classes in time management. And so for me, in the very beginning, the foundation of building our business, I wanted to make sure that it was efficient, it was scalable, and then I didn't need a ton of people on hand to help grow it. And so with me, it was honestly really narrowing down how to make it a system, right? Like you kind of create a structure and you have, A, B, and C. And so just really nailing down your efficiencies, blocking out times for updates, time with clients, and then, all of the back end working pieces. But yeah, for me, it's really, managing your time well and just making sure that sometimes I'll make improvements or upgrades to the dashboards. And at first it's very challenging because it might be great for the client, but then it consumes a ton of my time to be able to make it happen on a weekly, monthly basis. And it's really just making sure that you have good workflows, that you're doing the extra work to make things flow faster and easier for you in the long run. So from the very beginning, it was really efficiency was a big piece of it, just to make sure that in the future, it was going to make my life easier.
So that's great. So, Sean, when we are talking about the different modes of working, and your mode of retention is going really well, but on the other hand, are you in sustainability mode or you are more towards the growth mode? Because if you are growing, obviously you need more clients, and if you are in sustainability mode, then obviously you are not more concerned about the new clients.
Yeah. So I kind of starting from the beginning, I spent a ton of time with emerging brands that wanted to scale super fast and sell down the road. And when I got into this side of the business, my mindset was sustainability, organic, natural growth for my company, because I can see what it does to a person when you're under a tremendous amount of stress, you're raising money, you have numbers and people to report to. And so to eliminate some of that stress, while the company could definitely scale probably at a faster rate, given we took some money in and wanted to hit it hard, that was just never really in the cards for me in the beginning. I did teeter with the idea of it because who doesn't want this terrific story one day down the road? But for me, it's, and it seems to be something that my clients and the brands that I work with are also appreciative of, is keeping it very personal, not going towards a SaaS type software where it's sign up and you don't have any customer service, you don't talk to anybody. So I think overall it's been a great decision to go the slow route and just let it grow itself over time, limit the stress, and try not to take on too much overhead or hire employees. I think the managing hiring takes on a lot of time and extra stress that if you talk to any business owner, it can be a bit much.
Yeah, this is a complete challenge, standalone challenge. On the other hand, obviously, if you delegate your responsibilities to someone else, this is beneficial. But on the other hand, when you are managing a team, you have to, or maybe you have to train a team at that time. Obviously, you will have to put a lot of energies from your side. That completely makes sense, Sean. Because again, you are working alone because you are wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So, I believe like you might be using some AI tools as well, because nowadays this is the age of AI. I believe everybody is talking about AI, everybody is using AI, and everybody wants to listen about the AI as well. So, for your efficiency of the work, or maybe to reduce some clerical work, maybe you must be using some AI tools. So, what AI tools you are using to expedite your work?
Yeah, AI is like a huge buzz right now. I think that there's like a misunderstanding of how far it actually is in terms of how you can use it. I found that trying to do very challenging tasks with AI just doesn't really work or worth the time. It's helped me with a few projects, but overall, actually, AIs came a huge way from the very beginning to where it is now. But I actually don't use AI a ton. I have built in little tools and models into some dashboards for AI exploration. So clients can get into their dashboard and ask, ChatGPT or whatever the AI tool is in there and ask it questions about the data and try and create a story and find little bits and pieces, which I think is pretty neat, very cool. And, maybe I'm not using AI to the max abilities that some people are, but I found that some of the workflows that I have now they might be considered traditional within our space of tech, but I find it works and it doesn't break. And I've seen how AI machine learning models can be negatively impact, like especially the data cleaning side of things. Just the consistency piece is tough, and I try not to create more work for myself. So if something's not broken, don't fix it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So for me, I use it on a personal base and occasional tools here and there. And if I get stuck with some project, I might ask it some questions to help me solve it. But
Awesome. You have more personalized and human touch in your business. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have interviewed a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs in recent couple of years, and in fact, more than 1,500 business owners, and we learned something. In fact, we learned a lot of things, but one of them is that many business owners just shut down because of a lot of challenges every day.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we obviously we think that challenges are especially meant for the entrepreneurs, and they have to face challenges. This is part
Yeah.
of the game. Have you ever faced, in fact, obviously you must have faced many challenges.
Yeah.
Can you share one interesting challenge or maybe the biggest challenge that you have ever faced? And if you can let us know how you were able to cope up with it, this will be a plus.
Yeah, I think for me, it was really in the beginning. Massive challenges for me. I just came out of going to a boot camp program for data. I just gotten out. I was excited about the idea of creating this business, and I completely started from scratch. I learned all these new skill sets, and really it was trying to determine like what was my workflow, like how was I going to build this, what was the structure, and then it was going through the headaches of hours and hours and hours of just trying to get one measure right or display the information in a way that the client on the other side would be able to understand it easily. And then taking, at one point when I first made the dashboard, I had like 10 to 12 different tabs, and then I realized some of them were saying the same thing. So consolidating it into one thing and then learning all these different techniques on how to kind of shortcuts and more of the user side where they can play around and just make things easier and more user friendly. And so I think, in the beginning, I mean, it was blood, sweat, and tears. Like I was working 10 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 2 years. And now I'm finally to the point where like I'm in a really good workflow. I've got my update days that are very scheduled out. And then I've got, free meeting days. And then I've got my time allocation is like really spot on. And it's been really amazing to see how it's just progressed over the years because it was so much work in the beginning. And
Yeah.
this is my first business that I'd ever started on my own, and it takes a lot. Like you got to kind of reach down when you're having a hard time and just put your boots on and keep going. So
Indeed, this takes a lot, and obviously these things are not the overnight things. And if they are the overnight things, maybe that night is too long.
yeah, I mean, I remember there were days where I'd be at the computer and I wouldn't leave the house. I would
Yeah,
just be grinding. So I'm sure you've probably experienced that at some point in your
exactly.
life, and you just kind of have to keep pushing.
Awesome. So, Sean, can you guide me about your goals? What are you thinking, or maybe what are your plans for the short-term goals, or maybe next 4 to 6 months goals?
Yeah, so I've brought on a couple of new brands, new clients in the last 6 months. We've had some rotations. I am looking to add a few more clients in the next 4 to 6 months. More than likely by the end of the year, I'll probably have another one or two. But, just keeping that steady pace of, 1 to 2 new clients every 2, 3 months, just to keep that steady pace. Because I find that when I take on you start juggling balls and you start dropping balls, and just to prevent that from happening, I find that that seems to be a good consistent rate. And year over year we're seeing good growth, and just kind of keep chugging along. One year, it'd be great to get acquired maybe one day down the road as like a final exit plan, but I think everybody would envision that with their business at some point, or pass it on to their kids or whatever it is. So yeah, that's kind of short-term, long-term goals.
Awesome.
Yeah, super specific, but just staying on pace and keeping the retention high, keeping my clients happy, light innovations that are easy to implement and add a ton of value for the clients, and helping them out wherever I can. Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. So, Sean, in terms of, in fact, lastly, if you can let us know what is the eligibility criteria of your clients, like who are your ICPs, what are the must-have things that you are always looking into your clients?
Yeah. So I actually have quite a few different types of clients. I even have clients in Canada, and all over the US. And usually it all comes down to data sources. What kind of data do they have? What kind of selling data? Is it distributor data? Is it syndicated data through a Spins or an IRI, Nielsen? Do they have, a Whole Foods or retailer type portal data that they can work with? But it's really understanding what are their needs and what answers are they not, what questions are they looking to answer, and can we add value? A lot of companies see DFS as like an efficiency piece. I have brands that have, say, Unify and KeHE, and then a Whole Foods, and then I have some clients that have 10 different data sources. And you can imagine, like, for a brand, they'd have to hire a full-time role to help fill that space, or you could hire a company like us where we take on that workload, we manage all those different portals, we pull all the data, make sure it says all the same thing, and then you have one place to find all of your information to help with forecasting, demand planning, promo analysis, sales management, and a whole bunch more. Yeah, I think if somebody wants to work with us, at least having like one or two brand sources is probably worth it. And it's pretty common for a brand to be in, say, a Unify, KeHE, and a Whole Foods or Walmart or whatever it be.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Sean, can you please give us the biggest piece of advice for our audience? Your audience is, again, the business owners.
Biggest piece of advice for, what was it?
For the entrepreneurs.
Oh, entrepreneurs. Yeah. If you really believe in what you're doing and you have a passion for it and you see the need and value that you're providing to somebody, keep going. Even when it's really hard, you just kind of have to keep pushing through and it'll be worth it. It took me a couple of years of ripping my hair out to get to a good place, and it's right around the corner. You just got to keep trucking along.
Awesome. Keep going on. You will get the destination. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Sean, at the end, please let your viewers know how they can reach you if someone wants to.
Yeah, so you can reach out to our website. We have a place where you can send us a message or send us an email. It's dfs-analytics.com, or you can shoot us an email at info@dfs-analytics.com. We're also on LinkedIn as well. So hope to hear from you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation. It was pretty helpful. There was a lot of learning as well. Yeah, at the end, I will say stay blessed and I wish you best of luck.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay connected. Bye-bye.